Yes, you guys, I am back on the Free Flow channel, and apologies, it's been so long since the last video, but behind the scenes, I've just been kind of all over the place because recently I moved into a new flat and still, I'm doing a whole lot of things and still really don't feel settled, so it's just hard to keep up the consistency. But I've also just seen how, in general in life, when I miss a day of something, it's so kind of hard to pick back up. Whereas if you do something every single day, I've just noticed this about life in general. If you do something every single day, there is an ease to it that's very different. And I think it's the same whether it be posting one video a day, having an idea for a video a day, or doing anything else like going on a daily walk in the park, or these are just I'm just fascinated by us as human beings, like the daily habits that we have and how we can form them and how we can just try to have discipline in every part of our life. And for me, that's just always something I try to keep track of. Like, usually I would journal every single day. And for anyone that hasn't tried that, I really highly recommend it, to journal every single day, to try to keep track of your days and then be able to look back, and you just learn a lot from it. And also just, sometimes it feels like weeks. Like, even I have a friend who called me like 8 days ago, and I was like, I'm going to call him right back. And I have a look now at our chat on WhatsApp, and I see it's been 8 days since that message. And it just made it, that just again was one of those like, whoa, like time passes by so quickly, and we don't realize it often, but just each day goes by, and those add up, you know what I mean? So the things that I think that the daily habits that we kind of want to have in our lives are so important, and maybe not to have too many because it become overwhelming, but to tell yourself, these are the ones that I need to put discipline around because they make such a difference, you know, in my life, and they're different for everybody. But for example, for me, as you can see right now, I'm back in Lille, and this is the park La Citadelle. It's in the center of Lille, and this is one of those things where, like, the last 3 days I haven't been in the park. For me, it's like, and I've made it as if I don't have the time, but no, I do have the time. I could be waking up earlier, going to sleep earlier. It's life choices, you know what I mean? And yet I notice that whenever I do come to this park and go on that daily walk, it changes my day in transformative ways, like, truly. And it just shows sometimes it's simple things in life. But for me, whenever I come back to this park and I just listen to the birds, and get my body moving, and I'm just in link with nature, looking at the trees and the way the water moves, and the sound of the wind brushing against the trees, all of these little, you know, details really help me to kind of move back into the present. And I really struggle with that if I'm like in the apartment, like working, or even walking in like the urban city. Like, but again, this, I know this isn't for everybody. Like, I think everybody in my family, close family, they don't have this kind of connection to nature like I do, And again, that's why I think daily habits, like, there's no rules. It's just knowing for you what's kind of most powerful. And for me, for example, this like daily walk in the park is so powerful. And it's just funny how, like I said, how it just in life, like even with this free flow channel, I wanted it to be a kind of like personal goal and challenge to try to start doing longer form every single day, to make the longer form on the main channel be less scary, because that's also a learning point I found, is often like the first step is the hardest. And it's the same thing where, like, when I was doing it every single day, it felt super easy because it's just like in the flow of the day. And that's why I called it free flow, to be fair. And then the moment I stopped, even just one day, I was like, whatever, I'm not going to do it. It's not a big deal. And then those days add up so quick. I don't know how long it's been since the last upload, but it's probably been like a month, I would guess. So apologies on that. But like I said, I just think it's an interesting life lesson, and I try to take life lessons, in all the different places, But yeah, guys, I hope you're enjoying the international break, a little break from football. I know I needed it, and I'm so glad to have like a little break because, like, I made that video where just like talking about overreactions, but I just listened to all the birds. And look, there's a beautiful tree over here too, beautiful tree. But but yeah, I feel like it was so negative for like 72 hours or so after those, 3 losses in a row, that I'm just so glad to be out of that like negative energy, because You know, for me at least, it's very hard to the best thing to do would just be to take a step away from social media for a few days. But for me, it's really difficult because it's my job, you know, especially Liverpool goals. So it's hard to kind of move away from it all, unfortunately. But like I said, that's why I love an international break like this, where I can kind of get back into the flow of those daily kind of routines that I know are transformative. Like I mentioned, with going on a walk in the park, for me there's quite a few different things. You know, exercising every single day makes a huge difference. For me, like waking up early and getting the day started early, my goodness, it changes everything, because I have a lot of energy in the morning and I have less energy at night. And so I just noticed how if I go to sleep early, it makes all the difference. And for example, last night I didn't do that. I didn't discipline myself, and this is just to show like I'm not like any finished, you know, disciplined person. But like for example, last night I got into this Charlie Sheen documentary on Netflix. I actually thought it was so good because there was so much honesty in it. You know how often documentaries are like they just kind of show one side and it's basically just publicity for the person. I love this documentary about Charlie Sheen because it showed the good, bad, and ugly, like the whole lot, every side to the story, you know. And but anyways, I got so hooked that I ended up going to sleep at like 1:30 a.m. and I usually never do that, and it just sets me up in the worst way for the next day, you know. And that's something like I want to write about tonight to make sure I don't keep doing this. Not to say like I can't watch shows or anything like that, but just to say like a different part of the day, because I've just noticed that when I do go to sleep so late, it really has an impact, you know, a negative impact for me at least. But anyways, guys, I'm so glad to be back. I hope you're all doing very well. Let me know in the comments for you what are kind of those like daily routines where if you bring them into your life, they make a real difference. I'm curious to see, because like I said, I think everybody has different ones that really lights up their day. But yeah, guys, I will see you in the next one. You'll never walk alone. Ciao, guys.